Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I think we are ready to go.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here at the Sexto Encuentro Limitless, an event organized by the CDLE and framed, in the goal of encouraging, intercultural exchange and, language learning, right? And thank you so much. We have several activities this week. But today we're going to talk about speaking and listening. And speaking and listening are two very important skills to have in English and in any languages because that's at the core of the language, right? And today we're gonna have a very special guest. But before introducing her, let me introduce myself. My name is Jesus Gutierrez. I'm from Puerto Ordaz, Venezuela, and I'm really excited to be with y'all because I've been learning English since I was a child. And that's my passion, like having the key to the world, and being able to communicate with people from China, from the US, from Canada through English is something wonderful. I think we as a humanity, we never had that in the past. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the CDLE, Centro de Desarrollo de Lenguas Extranjeras, where, we encourage that language learning process and intercultural competences. So, um, let me introduce you to our guest for today. And without further ado, thank you so much. And she is Christina Stefanik. So, and thank you so much for joining us, Christina. We're so excited to have you here, and I know we have so much to learn from you today. So please uh, welcome, Christina.
All right, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here today. And I hope that at any point in time, if I'm speaking too quickly, you can please tell me that in the chat. You could ask me to slow down. That's no problem at all. And for today, first, I am going to give you some information about improving your English listening and speaking skills with TLC, the language company. And after that, I will turn things over to my colleague, Olivia, and she is going to actually teach a pronunciation-based lesson. And all of you who are attending get a chance to participate in that. And we really hope that you will participate and not worry about any mistakes that you might make. We have to get that practice in order to get better and better. And I'll mention to you also, just as a personal note, I learned my second language as a young adult, which is German. And at that time, online learning wasn't really an option. I actually went to Germany to learn German, and I wish I could have first learned some German online. Like, I wish I could have done that. But at any rate, let me talk with you a little bit about the language company and some of our online programs. So first, in the big picture, the language company will be 40 years old in 2023. So we have just over 39 years of experience teaching English to international students from all over the world with all kinds of different first languages. The language company is also accredited. Maybe you know what that means, maybe not, but in short, it means that every few years, we have visitors that come to the language company schools and also observing our online classes to make sure that we are doing things in the right way, to make sure that we're teaching students with good methods, to make sure that our teachers have good qualifications, and all kinds of other stuff. But for over 20 years, the language company has been accredited by ASET, which is under the United States Department of Education. Our instructors, our teachers are highly qualified. So at minimum, all of our teachers have at least a bachelor's degree and teaching experience with English as a foreign language or English as a second language. Many of our teachers, like Olivia, who's here today, many of our teachers also have master's degrees in teaching English as a second language. Our online classes are engaging and interactive, which means they are not boring, and also students must participate. So it's not possible with online classes with the language company, it's not possible to just sit there in Zoom and be quiet. So our students always participate in the classes, and that's especially important with listening and speaking classes, which will be our focus today. At TLC, online or in person, we also have small class sizes. And that really helps our students get more practice opportunities. And again, it makes it impossible to just sort of be quiet during the classes. So classes are small and there's always interaction with the teacher. And with online learning with TLC, you can be in the virtual classroom from your home. TLC uses a system called iTeach or Zoom for online classes. And students can do everything online that they could do in a face-to-face in-person class. So our teachers know how to use all of the different tools on iTeach and Zoom to help students work in groups, to complete different types of assignments. Students can communicate with one another as well as the teacher. And we like to use a lot of different file types. So you might also see, for example, PowerPoint presentations or videos, or even listening to audio clips through the virtual classroom. And in both cases, whether we're talking about Zoom or iTeach, students really just need to have an internet connection, some kind of camera, right? And a microphone. So it's not necessary to install a bunch of applications that are going to take up a bunch of space on your device. And again, every student participates in every class with TLC. And we normally, when we're starting a new class, we might ask some students to do an internet speed test just to try to get a sense of what is going to work the best for them, because we don't want technical problems to, prevent a student from successfully participating in a class. The language company, we have been online for some time now. We're ready to go. We're always welcoming new students to our online programs. And TLC has recently presented in a national webinar on its successful online teaching. So a lot of other English schools and English programs in the US and in other places, they contact the language company to get training about online teaching. So while we don't think we are perfect, because we can always learn more, we do have a good amount of experience with online learning and helping our students reach their goals. Our teachers are trained to use a variety of teaching methods. So it's not just always repeat after me or do this exercise. Our teachers use different teaching methods, and in the moment, they're also responding to how the students are doing in the class. So if a teacher can tell that some students might have a little bit of confusion or may need some more practice, they're going to slow it down, enable those students to do more practice activities and not just move on. We have experience delivering online classes to students in the United States and in other countries. And this, especially since COVID, this has become kind of a big part of our lives, right? Doing more things online. We also do surveys of all of our students. We ask them questions about their online classes, and our results are very positive. Our students are satisfied with their online learning experience with the language company. So more specifically, we want to focus on TLC's online listening and speaking courses. So first, one big idea is that this is a cost savings, right? You can stay in your home country, you can stay in your house or apartment or dorm. You don't have to worry about travel expenses, getting an I-20, and paying for housing and health insurance and all of those other expenses. So it's a huge cost savings for students to be able to stay in the home country, but still improve their English with native speakers of English. The online listening and speaking courses also work on a schedule that works with your busy life. So we have options for a 3-week class schedule or a 4-week class schedule with evening classes. And with the online listening and speaking courses, our students have 12 hours of live classes. So that is the time on Zoom or iTeach, working live with the teacher. In addition to those 12 hours, students receive 12 hours of practice activities that they work on outside of the live classes. And the teacher also goes over that outside practice. So students aren't just doing outside practice alone and wondering, is this right? Is this wrong? Could I do better? They get that feedback from the teacher. And we have a special discounted price that is available just for you. And in addition to that discounted price for the online listening and speaking courses, we're also offering you a free online conversation partnering session. So that's just a chance to get some extra practice with your English conversational skills with a native speaker of American English. And what I'm going to go through next, and then we will give you a taste of what it's like in our classes with Olivia. I want to give you some information about what students actually work on in these online listening and speaking courses. So we have 3 different courses: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. In the beginner classes, students respond to and also ask yes/no questions, as well as information questions. We also help students learn how to identify the sequence and main ideas in statements that they hear. Students also deliver a short, planned presentation on a simple process or routine. Students also deliver a short impromptu presentation on a topic the instructor, the teacher, gives them. So impromptu means in the moment. So you're not really planning in advance for this presentation. You're using your English skills in the moment to speak about a process or a topic. When it comes to listening, it's also important that what we hear can also make it into either our notebooks or our laptops, however we might take notes. And we also practice with the beginner students different ways to take notes with information they've heard using different graphic organizers. We also focus on individual listening statements, all different kinds, but to identify what is fact and what is opinion. And then students also get the chance to speak some facts and opinions as we practice this as well. We also focus on pronunciation. Now, I want to be clear, we're always going to react to our students' pronunciation. So our teachers routinely give our students pronunciation coaching while they're doing all kinds of activities. But in a very clear way, in the beginner course, we're also going to focus on the vowel and consonant sounds in spoken American English. This provides a really good foundation for beginner learners. In the intermediate class, students will practice restating information. They will also deliver a planned presentation and use some visuals to support that. We're also going to focus on some phrasal verbs and speaking those phrasal verbs in complete sentences. And English has so many phrasal verbs, and we know those can be confusing for people learning English, and we think it's important to have some practice with that in our classes. Intermediate students will also work on summarizing information. Intermediate students will also do an impromptu presentation. And they will also work to identify and then paraphrase specific details that they hear in oral arguments. So for example, the teacher might share the screen and show a 2 or 3 minute talk or presentation. And students are then listening carefully to find details in the arguments made by the speaker. Then the students are paraphrasing, right? So they're further using their listening, speaking skills to deliver that information, but in their own English. That's a great way to expand vocabulary. Students will also take notes and have different discussions and different tasks relative to whatever it is they are watching or listening to. So sometimes this could even mean a debate or a panel discussion, or just an informal discussion where every student gets a chance to fully participate and share their ideas. And again, as I said before, pronunciation is part of all of these speaking tasks. But in the intermediate classes, we also focus on 2 specific pronunciation strategies. The first one is linking, and the second one is reduction. And these are pronunciation strategies that native speakers of English do without really thinking about it. But when someone is learning English as a second language, sometimes linking and reduction can lead to some confusion. So we think it's important to teach students first, what is linking, what is reduction, give them some examples, give them a chance to practice, but then over time, it's going to help their listening comprehension as well as the sound of their own speaking, their own verbal production. Lastly, I'm going to share with you the objectives for the advanced listening and speaking courses. So in the advanced listening and speaking courses, students will discuss information found in different academic sources to determine details, credibility, and the author's purpose. And as students are doing this and speaking, they're doing that in complete sentences. We're also going to have some more presentations in the advanced group. Again, we're going to have impromptu presentation, but in the advanced group, we also like for students to deliver a planned presentation that's at least 5 minutes with visual support, but also with information from sources. So that builds off some of those other skills that we talked about with the intermediate course, like paraphrase and summary. In the advanced group, we're also going to focus on some target high-frequency phrasal verbs. There are thousands of phrasal verbs in English, so we definitely have enough of those to talk about in both the intermediate and advanced classes. Students will ask and respond to open-ended questions on academic topics using complete sentences. Academic topics, this could also be things that are going on in the news, for example. Students in the advanced classes will also talk about causes and effects. So it's, again, part of, listening comprehension, but synthesizing the information and then speaking about it. In this case, looking for cause and effect relationships. Students will also work on brainstorming solutions, classifying information, and determining the accuracy of information collected from sources. And back to pronunciation. In the advanced group, we focus on consonant clusters, so those groups of consonants in English, and also further practicing and refining the use of linking and reduction in spoken American English. All right, so that's possibly too much information about the language company and these listening and speaking courses. But now to try to give you a taste or a sense of what these classes are like, I'm happy to turn things over to Olivia, and she is going to do a pronunciation-based lesson, and we hope that all of you participate. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Olivia.
All right, thank you, Christy. I'm going to share my screen, and I hope it works. All right. So like Christy said, we're going to start with pronunciation practice. Open it up. Okay. So we are going to focus on ED endings in spoken American English. When do we usually use ED endings? We use it with regular, simple past verbs, and we also use it with some adjectives. Adjectives describe nouns, like bored, tired, annoyed, as the ED sound. Some other examples used in the simple past would be walked, watched, rented, landed, carried, cleaned. All of those end in ED, but they have different sounds. So we will talk about the pronunciation for those different ED sounds. So cleaned, like I said, has a D sound at the end. Cleaned. Walked has a T sound at the end. Walked. Rented has an id sound at the end. Rented. So they are all spelled the same with ED, but they have a different sound. And we will also practice this, and you can say the words with me, but right now I am just teaching you the words and the sounds. So like you saw, there are 3 different sounds for the ED endings. How do you know which sound to make? The pronunciation of ED depends on the last sound before the ED and not the last letter. So it depends on the sound. I also want to talk to you about voiced sounds and unvoiced sounds. So voiced sounds, you use your voice to make the sound, and also you can feel it on your throat, okay, when you make a voiced sound. So if you make the sound for you can feel it in your throat. So the sound, right? You can also hear the N sound. It's voiced, so the sound, okay? You can feel it. Or even the R sound, the R sound, you can feel it in your throat. Unvoiced sounds, you do not hear, or you do not use your voice to make those sounds. It's just air, okay? So those are different sounds. Like the P sound, the P sound, you don't feel it in your throat here. Something else that I teach students, you can also know if the air moves, is if you put a piece of paper in front of your mouth. So the P sound, you can see the air comes out of your mouth. Also the K sound, the K sound, and the sh sound. Sh. Okay, it's just air coming out of your mouth. This is the first group, and it is the most common. It has the D sound, the D sound. And these are voice sounds at the end of the word. So cleaned, cleaned, groomed, groomed, amused, amused, and called, called. It has the D sound. All right, so that's the biggest group. It has a voiced sound. So cleaned, groomed, you can feel it here. Amused, amused, you can feel it. And called, called, you can feel it here. So those are voiced sounds. The second group is the T sound. These are unvoiced. So I said it's just air going through your lips. So washed, washed. The sh sound, just air going through your lips. So washed as a T sound. Jumped as the P sound. Jumped. So after the P sound, there's a T, the ED. Also kicked, kicked. It's a k, just air coming through my mouth. So those are unvoiced air sounds, unvoiced. The third group is the id sound. This is the smallest group. The id sound has a full syllable, like a D or a T sound ending before the ED. So rent, rented, rented. Needed, needed. So there's a T sound or a D sound, full syllable, and you put the id sound after. How are we doing? I'm going to look, see the comments. All right. So we can also practice some of these sounds. I don't know if we want them to turn on their microphones at all. If they can participate, I can also hear them. But we can practice some of these sounds. So, moved, moved. It has a D sound, moved. You can feel free to say it after me. Tasted. Tasted has the id sound after it. Washed. Washed has the t sound. The SH is unvoiced. So the sh sound, unvoiced, washed. There's a T sound. Number 4, shocked. Same thing. The P sound is unvoiced, just air coming through your mouth. Shocked. So there's a T sound. Number 5 is talked. So talked, T sound, because the K sound is unvoiced. Oh yeah, I see. Someone said, come on students, as a native speaker. Yeah, can students unmute? Can I hear students? Anybody? Ah, we can't. Okay. So I hope that they are following me. They need to be saying it after me. All right.
Yeah, but at Jesus, I'm sorry, Olivia, to interrupt, but Jesus
Sure.
said if anybody wants to participate, just raise the hands and we will activate your microphones.
Ah, okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to participate.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to, so I will type. So I can put it on here so then they can see the T, D, or id. So moved, we already said there's a D sound. 2, tasted, id sound. Washed, T. I already said number 4, shopped. There's a T sound. Talked, also a T sound. All right, so number 6, I will say number 6. They can write in the chat, right? So I want them to tell me if it's a D, a T, or an id sound, okay? So I want them to participate in the chat. So when we teach online, we use the chat a lot. We use the chat box a lot. So students can write what sound they think. For number 6, they should write what sound they think it is. Okay, I got some answers. Okay, id. All right. Some people say id, some people say d. What else? Id. Id, okay. Some people say id, some people say d. The D sound. Okay, a few more. Let's get some few more answers. Okay, so I'm going to say it. Played. You said D? That's right. Played. So D, T, or id, played. The A sound, played. All right, we're gonna keep going. I'll say the word and then I want you to guess what it is. We'll keep doing that. Okay, number 7, started. What sound did I make? Started. All right, I'm getting fast answers now. That's good. Okay. Good. All right, everybody got it. Id. Started. Great. I like how everyone's using the chat box. Okay, started. Number 8, prepared. Prepared. Ooh, fast answers.
Yeah.
Does anyone else think it's not D? Okay. Everyone got it. Prepared. Prepared. Good. Number 9, looked. Ooh. I think that was an easy one. Great. Looked. We talked about the unvoiced sound. So looked, T sound. All right, 10, enjoyed. 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 I enjoyed that. All right, D sound. the D sound. I know that was a little confusing because it has the oi. So enjoyed, but it's actually just D. Good. 11, ended, ended, ended. Good. Ended. I want a few more answers. Ended, id, ended. So there's already a D sound, so we can't have ended, ended, ended. Good. 12, learned, learned. All right, a few more. Learned. Okay. I think I moved it down too much. Learned. D, good. Learned. I like it. All right, 13, rained, rained. Rained. Okay, I think everyone put what they thought. That's right, D, rained. Now I see somebody asked about British English. You could say learnt. I say learned. And we're focusing on the American pronunciation, so learned. But good question. All right. 14, weighted, weighted. Good. Okay, make sure weighted. Hear that ending, weighted. The t sound. Id, weighted. Good. Number 15, liked, liked. Good. I liked that. I liked that. Good. Yep. T sound. Liked. Liked. Great. All right. 16. Decided. I decided that I wanted ice cream. Decided. 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 Decide, id, id. So you can tell the difference between id and d. So for example, 13, rained, decided, id, id. Weighted, id, id. Ended, decided. So there's this id sound. When it's D, it's just d, moved. Just one sound, d. Rained. There's a difference. All right, 17, dropped. Dropped. What sound? I say a few more. Dropped. Good. T. And remember, unvoiced sound. Unvoiced, just air coming out. So the T sound dropped. Good. And 18. Hated. 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 Id. Hated. Id. All right. Hated. You got it. Id. Hated. Has the T sound. Hated. 19. Showed. Showed. That's a fast one. Everybody gets that one fast. Showed. Showed. Anyone else? Showed. All right. D. The D sound, showed. All right. And then the last one. Cooked. 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 Great. T sound, cooked. The k, cooked. All right. Everyone did a really good job. Let me bring up this up again. Full screen. Okay, yeah, this is our last slide. Any questions? We can review.
If you have any questions and you want to talk, just raise your hands and you will be unmuted.
Yeah, so raise your hand and then you can be unmuted. I also will review just a little bit. So the first group we talked about, the D sound, biggest group, voiced sounds at the end of the word. Cleaned, you can feel it in your throat. Groomed, you can feel it here. Amused, you can feel it in your throat. Called. Okay, that's the D sound, that's the first group. That's the biggest group. Then there's the T sound with the unvoiced sounds before the ED. So washed, shh. Unvoiced, it's just air coming through your lips, the sh. Also jumped. The p is just air. You will not feel it in your throat. Also kicked, just air coming from your mouth. So then it has the T sound, kicked. So that was group 2, the T sound. And then group 3, the id. So some of you I saw, sometimes you didn't know if it was the D sound or the id sound. If there's a D or a T ending before the ED, you'd have the id, because otherwise it would be d, and you don't want the 2 D sounds together. So need, id, rent, id, rented. So those are the 3 groups. Those are the 3 groups. Any questions? I think I just explained it so well that they don't have any questions, Christy.
I think that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, that's it.
They needed to focus and they did. Needed.
They wanted more. Wanted, id. So some of them are raising their hands. I see that. Will they be unmuted?
Yeah, I'm working towards that. And Salvador, you want to talk, right? I'm meeting you.
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear someone, yes.
Ah, finally. Really a good, excellent class. I'm very clear about the rules, but I'm very scary in order to try the right pronunciation. But I understand that the rules, no? The IDT and ID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if you won't try me to make my mistakes, but I am ready.
Mistakes are good. That's how you learn.
Yes, that is the good way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one, moved. It's
Moved.
right? No, moved.
Moved.
Okay. The second one, tasted.
Tasted. Yep.
Tasted. Washed.
Washed. Yep.
Okay. The fourth one, shopped.
Shopped.
Shopped. Okay. Five, talked.
Talked.
Talked. Okay. Played.
Yep. Good.
Oh, that's good. Good. Started.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Prepared.
Yep.
Looked.
Looked.
Excuse me.
There you go.
Looked. Okay. Enjoyed.
Enjoyed. Yeah.
Ended.
Mm-hmm.
Learned.
Mm-hmm.
Rained.
Mm-hmm.
Waited.
Keep going.
Liked. Decided.
Liked.
Liked.
Yeah, there you go.
Decided.
Yep.
Dropped.
Maybe.
Maybe close.
Try
Drop.
it again.
Dropped.
There you go. Drop.
Yeah, I need a
more air. Drop.
Hated.
Mm-hmm.
And now excuse me, I have a problem. Okay. Showed.
I might have a harder D there. Showed.
Okay. And cooked.
Yep.
Okay. I will practice
T.
the next 3 months in order to improve my pronunciation.
Yeah, it was pretty good though. Pretty good.
Oh, a good goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Yeah, I think the T sound. That was the one. I think those are the two. There was 2 T sounds that.
That is, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else is brave enough to talk?
Come on, guys, you have the opportunity to know to talk to native teachers, so let's take advantage of that.
Was there one other person who raised their hand? I think there might have been one other person.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. We're so excited to have Olivia and Christina with us because your talk was great. I really learned a lot. And these cluster exercises are really great.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Jesus, can you listen to me? Pamela wants to talk.
Sorry, Pamela.
Pamela.
Okay.
Hi, sorry.
Don't worry, Pamela. Welcome.
I just wanted to ask, because I asked before about the learned, it was a question actually, because I didn't know if it was a British pronunciation or there was a difference with the learned unlearned pronunciation. That's learned, learned. I don't know, or learned pronunciation. That was my question.
I would say learned, but learnt is also acceptable. But I would say learned.
Yeah, I definitely say learned. And I have some friends from London, they say learnt. But
all right, so it is indeed a British or American thing and not something about the meaning or anything like that.
Right.
Correct.
All
Yeah,
right.
no difference in meaning. I think it's just United States and most of Canada learned, the rest of the English speaking world learnt. I guess we just always have to be different somehow, right?
Thank you so much.
Confusing.
Thanks.
Okay, does anybody else wants to ask a question? Just let us know. You can write them, on the chat, or you can ask them. Feel free to ask. Just raise your hands.
Meanwhile, we would like to thank TLC for being with us today, and also CAEP. I think, well, Jesus is gonna, say the last words, but also where we really appreciate you guys, both of you. I mean, the both TLC and CAEP being with us and giving us this sample lesson. It has been very, very nice to have you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Before we close this session, we want to introduce Iraide Rodríguez, who is the director of the Centro de Apoyo para Estudiantes y Profesionales. So, Iraide, si estás por acá, por favor, preséntate y antes para que te conozcan aquí la audiencia, por favor.
Hola a todos, buenas tardes, es un gusto estar por aquí. Yo soy Iraide Rodríguez, la directora de CAEP, y bueno, quiero agradecerles a todos el haber participado en esta actividad. Quiero agradecerle al Centro para el Desarrollo de Lenguas Extranjeras por la invitación y también agradecerle a Cristina, a TLC, quien estuvo a cargo de la actividad donde ustedes participaron el día de hoy. Es un gusto estar aquí y realmente les agradezco a todos su participación. Thank you so much, Christina, for being here with us today. Thanks a lot.
It's really our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Iraide. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We know that you're going to be great English speakers if you practice a lot and if you, are constant. And well, thank you so much. And if you want to contact teacher Christina or teacher Olivia, the information is here below in the chat. The same with the CDLE, el Centro de Desarrollo para Lenguas Extranjeras. If you have any question, if you are interested in any of our courses or any other interesting thing about us, just feel free to contact us through our social media. Well, thank you so much, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. And remember, we have several other activities here at the Sexto Encuentro Limitless. So please feel free to join any other of them. So, well, goodbye, guys, and thank you so much. Have a great week.
Bye, Jesus.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.